Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I hadn't flown my drone for several days, and I thought I got to get out there and fly it. We had a rainstorm yesterday, and it was pretty poor the day before, but everything is cleared up, and if you look carefully across the way over there, we actually ended up with some snow on those mountain tops, so that's kind of rare to see snow down here in Arizona, but there it is. Well, anyway, so I thought, well, I can tell a story and just kind of give you a tour of the neighborhood. I think we'll follow a car, and there's also a tree with an eagle in it. So we'll get started with the story, though. Maybe I can tell you two. I'm not sure. So I've been telling about, in my previous videos, I've been talking about the summer that I spent working in California. I lived in Washington State and went to Western Washington College, and I found a job in the summertime in California to help pay for my expenses because my folks said they would pay my way. And that's in another video. Anyway, so I got down there, and my Aunt Gertrude lived in a house that, well, maybe she had a third of an acre or so, but that area used to be an orchard for apricots. And so she had 3 or 4 apricot trees in her backyard and one out in the front yard. And she forgot that I was strictly from downtown Seattle, from the city, knew nothing about apricot trees or anything or fruit. And what she would do, she would dry them. And I remember when I was a kid and we'd go down to visit, she'd always give us a big bag of dried apricots, and they were a good treat. So one day when I think she worked, and so she also worked for United Airlines where my dad worked. And so she said, the ladder out in the garage, and go back to that tree next to the window outside the kitchen, and pick the apricots off of that tree, and that'll give you something to do if you're not working. I can't remember what was, like, maybe it was a Saturday and she had to work or something. So anyway, I said sure, because I'm earning my rent down there. And so now there's that if you look in that tree there, you'll see. I'm very sure that's an eagle. We have 2 of them that come and sit in that tree next to each other. It's like a ma and a pa or something. So anyway, she left, and I got the ladder out and pulled it over to the tree, and it was one of those that tripod ladder they use for picking fruit. It had the 2 legs with the steps going up, and then it had one rod that went down from the top and kept it from tipping over. And so it was real handy for picking fruit. So I got out there and I started, and by the way, we picked the fruit and put it into flats, which is, it's a box about, maybe 3 inches high, 4 inches high, and about a foot wide and maybe a foot and a half long, and you just held that in your arm, stood on the ladder, and reached out and picked the apricots. So anyway, I worked for a long time. I picked every single apricot off of that tree, the ripe ones and the green ones, because she told me to pick the apricots off the tree. So anyway, so when she got home and she looked at what I had done, she was not happy with me because that tree was no longer useful for apricots until the following year. And so she pointed out to me that when you pick fruit, you pick the ripe fruit only, and then you come back in a couple weeks or so, and you pick the rest of the fruit that has ripened, and then you come back a couple weeks later and pick the rest of the fruit until they're all picked. See, I didn't understand that. She just said, pick the apricots off of that tree. So I picked the apricots off of the tree. And for the rest of the summer, that one of my jobs was to pick apricots, and I did really well. I enjoyed doing it, and so it was no problem. And then this other time, my cousin Chester, who I worked for at the place where I was working, he was working on Well, he worked on cars, even though he had a stub for a left arm. He actually was on, if you know anything about the hydroplane races, he was a crew chief on the Bartol hydroplane that they use in the big races. So he knew it. He was a good mechanic and knew everything, and it was amazing how much he could do with just one arm. I got another story I should tell you about that too. Maybe I will before this is over. So anyway, I was picking fruit out of the tree in the front yard, which is the very tall trees, and so there's plenty. You go up between the limbs and start reaching out, and then you move the ladder to a different spot and go up and stand between the limbs and pick more apricots, and you just work your way around the tree. Well, as it turned out, my flat was getting pretty full of apricots, but I wanted to get, there was some up at the very top that I hadn't gotten. So I put the ladder up so I could get to the very top. And of course, you don't have to be afraid of falling, because if you lose your balance, you just grab a hold of a limb. And so I climbed up to the very top. I stood on the very top of the ladder. Now remember, it's got 3 legs. And so I was reaching around and picking apricots off the limbs, and this one time I turned, and then I twisted the ladder as I turned, which made it then the ladder actually twisted and fell out from underneath of me, and I, with my right arm that was sticking out to catch to get the apricots, I grabbed a hold of the limb, and the ladder went down below, and I'm hanging up about 15 feet above the ground with this flat of apricots, and I never spilled a single one. And so then I hollered to Chester, my cousin. He was in the backyard working on a car or something, and I said, "Chester," and he said, well, he didn't answer right away. I called him a couple times, and then finally he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I need your help out here." And he said, "Well, just a minute. Meantime, I'm hanging by one arm, 15 feet off the ground with a flat of apricots in my other arm." And I was good and strong back then, so it wasn't a big problem, but I couldn't have done that for a very long time. So finally I said, "Chester, I need your help right away." And so he came out in the front yard, and he looks around, and he says, "Where are you?" Because I was up amongst the leaves. And, of course, the ladder was laying on the ground. He thought maybe I was on the ground somewhere. I said, "I'm up in the tree." And so he found me, and he looked up in the tree, and I'm hanging there, and he kind of laughed, and I said, "Please help me down." And we had a lot of fun together. He was a great guy. So anyway, he put the ladder up and set it so it would be under my feet, and then I very carefully climbed down the ladder, and I didn't spill one apricot out of that flat. So I was proud of myself for that. But he was amazed that I was able to hang up in the tree for that long. And actually, at the time and to this day, I was kind of amazed too. So anyway, there's another story of when at the end of my freshman year in college, I worked in California. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoyed the flight. I'm headed home now, and I want to thank you for watching my videos.